Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and wow, I just need to wake up. I have something in my throat. Hang on a second.
No, it's all right. I literally have to redo my intro like 5, 6, 7 times, even when I'm awake. So
Usually not. Those past collaborations, I did that whole thing in one take.
that's what's up.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, how are we doing today? I am going to try to do my best to talk, but apparently that's hard to do. Today, I am introduced to Jojo Wifi of the Jojo Wifi channel.
How we doing, guys?
It's been a long time coming. A few of you guys actually asked for Jojo Wifi, and quite frankly, I'm like, you know what? He seems like a pretty cool guy. Both got a lower tone voice, so why the hell not? Plus an interest in DMC.
Yeah.
So, Jojo Wi-Fi, why don't you go ahead and start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, everyone. Jojo Wi-Fi here, and I just got to do this quick little interview with Half Pint. I was watching some of his vids, and I seen he did a collaboration with RBG, Devil Never Cries, a lot of other big names in DMC, and just some of the more charismatic and likable characters in the community. And I thought, you know what? He's reaching out. Let's get this done. Let's do this.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So the first thing we kind of want to talk about a little bit first is so previously your channel, you know, it didn't always start off as a DMC channel. You started off with Monster Hunter World. You got any future plans for your channel before Devil May never fucking you got any plans before Devil May Cry comes out?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely want to branch out into different areas. Not ever going to leave the DMC community. That's going to be a staple just because I've grown so much with everybody, and honestly I've really enjoyed the road here, but I do still want to expand. So that being said, I was thinking about doing something along the Mortal Kombat 11. I know that's just coming out. Then obviously Kingdom Hearts 3 is already here in Japan, I believe, and we got maybe like a month to go.
There's a good one. There's a good one.
Yeah.
The
problem with that is actually surprising because all those videos end up getting demonetized, like every single one of them. It's so hard to actually produce content and actually keep a monetization despite it being fair use.
Yeah, no kidding. Square Enix is definitely one of the hard ones, and that's kind of another thing I was having a problem with. It's kind of hard being a DMC YouTuber when Capcom is very restrictive heavy. Like, I'm surprised like you and some of these other YouTubers are able to literally just put the trailer in your videos. I'm like, how?
Dude, I said the same thing, and I'll be honest with you. But let me clarify before anyone kind of picks at that. The monetization thing here is it's not about the money. When your videos get demonetized, I know despite their best efforts to tell you that it doesn't recommend the video any less, that is a lie. I promise you that is a lie. Anytime a video gets demonetized, I've noticed it doesn't reach the audience of people that I would like it to. All right, I honestly have noticed that you lose a lot of traction when you do that, or when that happens.
You do. You definitely do. Actually, I don't know how much I can vouch for that for because my best videos are demonetized, oddly enough.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
True story. It's at the end of the day, I think it really comes down to like the tags and that sort of stuff because that's what I ended up doing for my original videos. But now it's kind of hard to do that because beforehand, Devil May Cry 5 was very undersaturated, so it was super easy to get views on that. But as you've noticed, it got popular, and I'm not getting any views.
It definitely has expanded a lot. That's the crazy part. I would still say that it's a really undersold commodity. Like, there's not a lot of us in the community. I would say that a majority of the people that cover Devil May Cry news are actually smaller channels like myself. You know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, we've got a couple good ones out there that I'm hoping to talk to someday as well. Angry Joe, I'm looking at you. No, totally kidding about that one. So, one thing I gotta say. So, one of your most recent videos, you talked about how Devil May Cry 5 was kind of like a Shakespeare play. You know how it's going to play out, but what matters is how it plays out.
Correct. Go ahead.
I think those are a pretty good way to put it, you know, if you want to go ahead and elaborate on that.
Yeah, so my take on it is, like I said, Shakespearean plays, you would know the plot beforehand. They would give you like a manuscript. They would give you like the entire plot. And the thing about it is everybody going into it knew what was going to happen, but it was just a way of how it plays out. So that's my take on DMC, as there's been so much leaked footage, and I've seen more of it than I've even put out, right? More than I've even covered. But here's the thing about that. I know a lot of people get upset with spoilers and they don't want to see leaked footage and stuff like that. At the end of the day, they have to know that I have to appease to my audience of people, right? And that's what I'm being asked to present. If you guys don't like it, I understand. You know, you can block me. You can do whatever you got to do. I don't do it out of malice, mind you. But I also noticed that a lot of people in the community had said, wow, Devil May Cry 5 may have the most leaks out of any other game or AAA title that they've had released ever, right? They've never seen this many leaks. And my take on that, I really do think this is intentional. I think this is 100% intentional. For us to have been 10 plus years for the newest installment and then have this many leaks, this is nothing short of intentional, where Capcom is trying to hype up the game. And for me to follow suit, I don't know. I don't feel too bad about it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's not like it's, leaked footage from a TV in the living room, leaking the prologue.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
that was over the top. Like, what's going on here? But, I mean, it was the thing I said literally the day before the E3 trailer was shown. And you can go back and you can still watch that video. I said that Devil May Cry 5 was the worst kept secret in the gaming industry, and that has held true to this day.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Honestly, I remember seeing that. I did. I do remember.
Shit.
Yep.
That was before I had 100 subscribers. That's surprising.
No, I seen that. I looked back at some of your older videos. I do remember that. That's funny. That's
okay,
funny
that makes sense.
It's true. It's true, man. It's true. It's so true.
I don't know what's going on here. There's like some people that say they're leakers and some that just say that their dad works for Capcom. It's like, which ones do you believe, and why should you believe, and that sort of stuff. But kind of segue out of this, have you been able to get a hold of that demo for Devil May Cry 5? Play it?
Absolutely not. See, here's my thing on that too.
Oh no.
Is it public source now, or is it still just the Xbox One?
So it's currently just Xbox One for their exclusive demo, but there's another demo coming in the future that's going to be a multi-platform demo.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought. No, see, here's the thing. I am huge. For the record, Jojo Wi-Fi is Team PS4. I have a PS4, man. I got to be honest with you. And I don't have the demo. I have no intentions. I thought about borrowing my buddy's Xbox One, but I said, you know what? I'll go into it blind. We'll go into it blind.
Well, we're not playing games in the future then. I'm sorry. I'm just going to cut this podcast right now. We're done.
Oh,
dear God.
Platform, please. Ataskata Capcom-sama.
I'm telling you. Don't worry. We still got PC games. We'll figure it out somehow. We'll figure it out. All right. So, yeah, so there will be a I gotta make this like super abundantly clear. I gotta make another video to make this clear for people. Yeah. There will be another demo, and it's gonna be multi-platform. It's not gonna be PS exclusive. The reason for that is not because Capcom is like butt fucking Microsoft, something like that. It's just because they got some extra money from Microsoft, so they showed it off on their E3 floor. They got an early demo, and that's it. It's not like we're getting, an extra devil breaker inside the game. That would suck ass. That'd be stupid.
Right. No, honestly, I think this is something that Xbox One needed. Like, from an unbiased standpoint, just like with everything that's been released, and especially with God of War. I know there's a lot of people who talk about, God of War versus Devil May Cry, which is the best hack and slash, blah, blah, blah. Look, you guys can like both. It's okay to like both, and I personally do. The newest installment for me was absolutely amazing. And, combined with Spider-Man, I got to throw that out there. I really do feel like I still don't regret it despite not having the demo.
Understandable. PS4's got some killer fucking exclusives, and I'm pretty jealous. I'm demonetized. Well, whatever. It's pretty great, though. So another thing I want to talk about, this is just a weird thing. What is up with the obsession with Virgil when it comes to the community? Have you noticed that at all?
Yeah, I can't help but feel like I'm definitely behind that as well. Definitely pushing that agenda.
You think strings are attached and you're pulling them?
Oh, not necessarily. I definitely am helping pioneer it, though.
Oh, adding fuel to the fire. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
It's so odd. I will say that much. But I'm trying to add
I
fuel to
don't
the
think
fire for
so.
Lady, and I think it's it's working in this Discord anyways.
No, here's the thing though, is because Virgil is such an unexplored, really cool character. I mean, he's got, and I'll say this as a Virgil fan, he's definitely got the cliches, right? He's got all the cliches and all the edginess, but it's done right. And he's not really explored that much either. Like, I feel like, I mean, we got DMC3, we got Nello Angel and DMC1, but the dude deserves a bigger spotlight, in my opinion. I mean, he's Dante's brother at that. Like, we could just end it at that.
Right. He's
So,
the tragic hero, I think is what it's put as. And I think I kind of want to see them play that out a little bit more. And a
mm,
lot of people want him just to go completely good. And honestly, I think that'd be kind of against his morals. But if he did a good deed,
mm.
that is understandable. But I feel like they should give him more of a spotlight, but continue to make him the tragic hero he was in previous games. But please don't stretch it out between like 3 or 4 games this time.
Right. No, actually, that's a wonderful point. I'm glad you said that because this is similar to the God of War situation. I don't know if you haven't played God of War 2.
I've seen the entire
But
walkthrough
let
of it.
me,
It's okay.
yeah, yeah. So basically, there's a point where I believe it was the director. He said his biggest regret for that game is your son Atreus. Okay, he goes through this phase where he starts rebelling super hardcore. He's like insulting people. He's just discovered that he's a god. Now he's extremely arrogant. And there was just this major turn in terms of character development that just jumped super fast and it just felt unnatural. And everyone who's played it probably realized that too. So that being said, I could see that being the same case with Virgil. That's a wonderful point that you brought up because Virgil being the way he is, for him to have a redemption shot, which I would enjoy, for him to go completely good and do just like a complete 180 would feel unnatural at this point. Just you can't do that over the course of one game, especially when he's not just the sole spotlight for the game.
Right. And I think more of a cleaner example of how it should be done, or well, there's some reasons why it was done this way. If you play Bioshock Infinite, about halfway through, when you're escorting this lady with you the entire game, her name is Elizabeth, she gets kind of
Yeah.
angry the first time she realizes that you are a cold-blooded killer and you don't have a problem with it. She's like, okay. And then things get a little bit more tragic there, but then they slowly start to fix themselves. But that game, I think they're more focused on the little details in that game, and so that stuff is a little bit more ironed out, and I think it was pretty well done. And so hopefully Virgil can get a little bit more detail with his character in this coming game, because we technically already know what happens at the beginning. I'm not saying that because of the leak.
Right.
I'm saying that because the trailer couldn't have made it any more obvious.
Right. The leak literally just kind of fills in the tiny gaps that you could pretty much assume on your own.
But yeah, that's what I've been telling people. The prologue leak just basically feels like what we already knew was coming to the game, I guess.
And you know what? That's again, that goes back to the whole Shakespearean thing, that metaphor that I made, because it's like to this point, it's like everyone's got like a similar take. They may be different takes, but they're all similar takes. And we kind of know a heavy amount of the plot going into it already, you know? So
yeah, that's definitely something I'm saying by, and hopefully we'll see more of that executed in the future. One thing I almost forgot to talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and bring up before I do forget. Dante getting impaled. That's interesting. You got any what's your opinion on that first before I put mine in there?
Yeah, so when I had released that trailer on my channel, and I remember I said the caption or the header was just like something along the lines of V betraying Dante. And then I said, you know, I kind of threw it in people's faces like, hey, man, I called this back some time ago or whatever the case may be. And a lot of people got upset by that because they're like, you realize he's been impaled every single game. You would know that if you played the games. I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. It's like my job is I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm a sensationalist, but I am kind of just like hyping it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not completely solidified with one ideology of what's going to happen, right?
And on top of that,
even if V is intended to resurrect him, you guys know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about when I say that. So the community is pretty much set on the idea that V is resurrecting Dante by impaling him with the sword of Sparta.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if that's the case, it doesn't mean that at some point later in the plot he's not going to betray him. As we did still hear the words come out of his mouth, Dante, if only you never existed. Now, this could be taken out of context, and again, for a later scene that they just kind of overlapped on this particular one to paint a certain image of him. But we got a lot there, man. I don't want to invest in any one specific idea. Personally, I do think he's just trying to resurrect Dante. But there's obviously some malice in that statement that he makes prior to resurrecting him. It's like he's reluctantly resurrecting him because he needs him, is what it appears to be to me.
So it sounds like you're kind of for the fact that V is going to be betraying us sometime in the game.
Yes. And I know there's a lot of people. Here's the thing, though, is that I got a lot of backlash for that statement, but there's a lot of other people in the community that are like-minded on that. Not that it's like a hard tell, right? They're obviously trying to sell the image that V is a shady character. But like when Devil Never Cry made the analogy between him and Arkham, you know, that didn't upset anybody, and it shouldn't, because yeah, there's definitely some similar traits. Devil May Cry historically has never tried to play like a what's the word, like a plot twist on you. Like Arkham was so obviously evil, and then in the end he turned out to be evil. Like they didn't at no point did that change. Yeah, there's like one of many examples. So
they weren't even fucking hiding it. Hey, the Joker was Arkham all along. Hey, they're both evil. Go figure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you weren't even trying to hide it.
All right. Weren't even trying.
You know, that's one thing I've been saying a lot to people. V, I was really hoping he wasn't gonna betray them, and not because from a story point, because I saw it from like a mile away. Like
hard not to, right?
Yeah, it's like, are you even trying to hide it? And maybe there's more reasons behind it, and that's the secret. Yeah. And if that's it, then I can understand that. But god damn, dude, I can just see this like a truck in the night.
It's crazy.
Honestly. So the next thing I want to talk about is some more recent news. The Devil Bringer coming back. And this is, I mean, I would say spoiler alert, but it's not really even a leak at this point.
Right.
So like, what is your overall opinion on this?
Okay, so I did cover a video on that. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. And I
watched that one.
So there was some really interesting comments that I seen. So a lot of people are kind of like on my side about this, but I do read the negative feedback too. And some people are saying that like, hey man, I think you're looking at this wrong. And they said apparently they see like a cogwheel in the arm, in the flesh-like arm. And this is supposed to allude to mayhaps this is a human-like prosthetic for a Devil Breaker. I'm not sure what purpose that would serve when you have I don't know. You have one that's a replica of your Devil Bringer. You got one that's like literally a gamma ray. I don't know what purpose a human-like Devil Breaker would serve, but apparently someone's seen a cogwheel. Okay. Now, my opinion is solidified. Like I said, I think that what this is leading up to, and this is just a theory on my end, is that at some point he's going to reclaim his Devil Bringer. It wouldn't make sense to reclaim your Devil Bringer on top of a mechanical prosthetic, right? To regrow something that's artificially a part of you. So at some point he would have to heal his hand, and then later it would develop into a Devil Bringer. That's my take on it.
That's a fair assumption. I think there's a lot backing up that theory. My original theory was the fact that it was probably going to be something obtained in like the last level or maybe like the last cutscene, and it gives you the ability to replay the entire campaign with it. However, that's literally what the Buster Arm is. That's already confirmed, that the Buster Arm comes at the end of the game, and then you can also buy a deluxe edition to get it. So it's like, fuck, then what's the Devil Bringer then?
Well, here's my take on that too. Okay, so the that breaker is intended to kind of replicate what the Devil Bringer did, but we can assume that if he's getting one back, and typical anime motifs, when anytime you regain something that you had lost, it would come back stronger or with a new ability of some sort. So it would be a reinforced version of that. Now again, the Devil Bringer would make that breaker obsolete, but like you said, it's a late game, something you obtain late game. So
I can just imagine using the breakage on his Devil Bringer, just stupid gory blood splat from his arm. It's like, why is this here? Oh my
Exactly.
god. So that's gonna be weird. I'm just like racking my brain how that's gonna work, but maybe I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be a replicant because that how's that gonna factor into gameplay when he has that little metal stub there now?
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do it.
Amen to that. We only got so much for that. The next thing I want to talk about just a little bit is your channel. Where are we going with the channel after DMC5? Did I already fucking ask that? I think I already did.
No, I don't know. That might have been on or off interview prior to we started it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you did ask me originally where I had intended to go. I think I told you Kingdom Hearts and MK11.
That is definitely true. I'm trying to get my notes back up, but they kind of just booted off on me a little bit.
No biggie.
All right, well, let's go off script then. I got something else then.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about this a little bit when we were off the recording,
Yeah.
but I kind of want to touch
For
upon this a little bit more. Kind of help out your channel, give yourself some good rep while you're in the good name of Half Pint so far. I got a good name so far. Let's not change that yet. Your channel's got some bad rep, but I think today should be the day we clean that up. So first of all, you want to talk about how really all this happened, and after that, talk about some ways we can make amends and fix this and clean this up.
Yeah, for sure. So originally, I think I came into DMC. I came into DMC after Monster Hunter World, and we were probably sitting at about 700 subs. And originally, I did give my feedback on what I thought might happen in Devil May Cry, right? And it elicited a large response. The first video we did, we got a fair amount of views, and I assumed it was just a fluke. Like, I assumed it was a fluke and that I wasn't going to build an audience off of a single player game, despite me actually enjoying Devil May Cry as a series. I know some of you would like to deny that. But like I said, I didn't intend to build as big of an audience off of it as we did. So we went from 700 subscribers to 7,000 in a matter of a couple months. And that being said, this is not a good excuse, but when I started getting bits of criticism and opposing ideologies, I kind of just took it as a game. I had fun with it, and I was just trolling my audience. So, and that was very apparently obvious. Like, people would say, hey, man, I don't like such and such, or I don't agree with that. And I would just troll them, which, you know, this is trolling people who had a genuinely wanted to see the channel go in a better direction. And then there was obviously just trolls who were having like ridiculous criticisms that were just unreasonable. I would troll both ends of it. So it went from probably a total of like maybe 15 people who didn't like something or the way I was handling it. And it went up to quickly like 50 people. And I didn't take notice to it, despite there obviously being, you know, a bigger fan base that was growing there, because man, I probably went back to Monster Hunter World after I did the first Devil May Cry video for like a couple, I want to say at least a month or two. Like, I never even made another Devil May Cry video after the first one. And you guys can go check that out on my channel and find out for yourself. But crazy enough, my Devil May Cry fan base has been the most loyal. Like, I would just upload Monster Hunter World video after Monster Hunter World video. And you guys can see that there's like some large gaps. And my fan base would just be ever so polite. They would literally just come onto my video, say, hey, man, I don't watch Monster Hunter World, but I would really appreciate it if you made another Devil May Cry video. And I told them, guys, I was like, hey, there's not a whole lot to go off of. We got one trailer. I don't plan on ever covering Devil May Cry again. That was just a one-time thing. And then we got some new trailers, and obviously that didn't happen, and I started covering it. And again, my fan base at this point was requesting of it. And my Monster Hunter World fan base ended up falling off. Like, they just stopped participating. So it made sense to adhere to people that were being active in my community and wanting something from me. So I continued to push out videos, but I never stopped trolling the people that were giving me genuine criticism. And I think the first time I seen it was the subreddit for Devil May Cry. And they wanted to troll me. I guess they didn't like the way I handled the criticism. And the way I handled it was, in typical fashion, to just troll it again. That's basically how I decided to do that.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I gotta say, I can even vouch for Monster Hunter World because I was definitely in that phase when it first came out. There was so many YouTubers I was watching at the time covering Monster Hunter World guides, and I was really glad they were, and I was kind of sad when it all died out. But, I mean...
Shouts out to Eric's Gaming. Amazing content. I love his,
right.
love his videos.
Like, even your content is not an example. Like, the content kind of just died after a while, after we got, like, Cold Terror for the first time. It's like,
dude, it's crazy.
We have a lot of content. And when Cold Terror left, it's like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, we're not
Yeah,
getting
I
anything
think
for a while.
yeah, I think more than that, it was like a hype. It was a hype thing. So like Monster Hunter World's Capcom's best-selling game. So like everybody jumped on the hype train and didn't actually enjoy Monster Hunter as a game. They just kind of played it because everybody else was playing. And then the fan base took like a really big hit, and then people stopped watching it altogether.
Understandable. And I think me and you should talk about Monster Hunter World more in the future
For
because
sure, they got that new G rank that's coming out, or it's like what G rank is. It's essentially what G rank was.
yeah, that new expansion Frostborn, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah. And I also want to kind of bring things full circle again about the channel for just a second.
Sure.
The other aspect, I don't want to just pass all the negativity off on just me trolling, right? So the other thing too is that a lot of people, and this is something that I wanted to get straight to, is because I feel like this is the part where it's unfair criticism, right? So you guys can dislike my channel for whatever reason, but like I know a lot of people in the community were really upset because I believe you, Never Cry, Resora, everybody was putting theory in their titles, and everybody demanded that I put it in my titles.
Whoa! Don't put that on me. I do news videos. You can go check on that crap.
Okay. I don't know. But like when people put out theory videos, like the big thing they want is they want you to put theory in the title, right? And I never did it. So again, this was just me trolling. At this point, I literally didn't put theory, literally just to upset people, just because I know that's what they wanted. And that stuck. So people really want me to put theory in my titles. But where I think it's unfair is that the rest of the community no longer does it, and nobody has a problem with it. Like, I'm not gonna list names of people, but nobody puts theory in their title anymore. And I don't know. Like I said, I think at this point now I have elicited such a snowball of hatred that it's like now we're criticizing things that aren't necessarily a big deal in my opinion. Or at the very least, it's what the rest of the community is doing.
Exactly. I'm kind of a firm believer in that. And I think one of the biggest things about the whole theory thing is, one, you don't really want to put theory in your title because it instantly kills views or any chance of anyone watching your video. And two, I mean, it's an odd thing. I can see why people want you to put theory in there, because if it's not theory, it sounds like clickbait, and that's what a lot of people get angry about. And I'm gonna be quite honest, there's some people in this Discord that got angry. They're like, oh man, you made this video and I got so mad, I watched it and it said theory and it was clickbait. I'm like, guys, calm down. We haven't even talked to the guy yet. We don't even know if he's a bad guy yet. So far, I haven't gotten that impression.
Well, no, here's my thing too, is like you said, so that's a good point that you mentioned. It's like the algorithm doesn't appreciate that. So theory is attached to like a lot of keywords. So like theories will disassociate that with Devil May Cry. You put theory in the title and now it's going to suggest it in places where people aren't looking for Devil May Cry content, right? Because theory is a bigger word than Devil May Cry, right?
Yeah.
So it is. So now it's going to be spread out. Now you're spreading it out to audiences of people that don't necessarily care, and you're a small YouTuber. So I don't necessarily do it because, again, it's killing the algorithm. People feel like they've been clickbaited, despite me letting you know at the start of the video that it's a theory. And if you didn't know, you have to watch 30 seconds of the video, which I let you know prior to that, before it even counts as a view. Okay, so if you're not interested, there's that. But apart from that altogether, is like I said, other YouTubers stop doing it. I'm not going to say their names, but there's other YouTubers, small YouTubers in the Devil May Cry community who stopped putting theory in their titles. And when they did that, they experienced higher growth in their videos. And that's due to the algorithm no longer screwing you over for putting keywords that are bigger than the topic itself.
Right, and it's completely understandable. One thing I can ask you, though, what do you use for your editing and thumbnails and such?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't necessarily, I don't know why they don't believe it. I use my iPhone 8. I have an iPhone 8 Plus. And so I use iMovie for the editing portion of it. And the mic that I typically use is a pair of iPhone headphones, which I suggested to Resora, and he's using them now. And personally, I think his audio is as best as it's been.
Yeah, it's definitely improving. That's
for
sure. I can't believe you're using phone equipment to make it. Just goes to show how that works, though.
Yeah, anybody can do it, man. Now, I will say that the microphone that I'm using today, however, is a Blue Yeti, since we're already on the PC. As far as the thumbnails go, I tell my fiance what I want, and she makes that on Photoshop. So.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Photoshop's a lot of fun. You toy around with it a little bit, and it's the biggest thing I've been telling people about that is it's like art. You know, you can't have someone make a tutorial and teach you how to do art.
Oh yeah.
You can
For
go
sure.
on there, you can look at a tutorial on the basics of Photoshop, and once you know the basics, from that point on, you need to experiment with all the
What
functions
works.
in there when you want to. And people make it sound like it's a house, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. I've made some stupid shit in Photoshop, and I love it.
Yeah. No, that's a wonderful way to explain it. My favorite thumbnail is on my DMC video where I talk about like Dante eating pineapple pizza. Like that was the funnest one to
Oh,
make.
God.
And like I said, I told my fiance doesn't know anything about Devil May Cry, so I have to literally instruct her for everything, whether it's a PNG, what to cut out, where to place it, and we had a good laugh making that one.
Fun times. That is definitely a lot of fun times. And kind of going back a little bit with the hate, I haven't necessarily had a hate bandwagon that I'm aware of, which hopefully we can keep it that way. But the biggest thing I've gotten is I got some major criticism back when I first started my channel. I was talking about just Devil May Cry 5 news for the first time, and hey, I called it, and then talking about theories.
Yeah.
Just very, very vaguely talking about theories. But if you are wrong about one goddamn detail, in this community, they will rip you apart. It's like, I'm sorry.
If you don't keep anything out of this interview, please keep that. Like this is the biggest part that I want to talk about, and I'm so glad you brought that up. And I mentioned it previously. The gatekeeping in this community is absolutely terrible. It's absolutely appalling, the gatekeeping, and you got to know that Devil May Cry isn't a big name in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying that I don't like it. It is not a big name in the grand scheme of things, and you guys gatekeeping, you're literally going to kill your own fandom by doing stuff like that.
And before we continue this conversation too much, I just want to quickly clarify, guys. Communities always have problems. There are so many communities with problems.
Yeah.
This is the major problem with this community, and it's disgusting. Actually, it's bad, and I'm really, really hoping that it gets fixed because I know there's going to be more Devil May Cry in the future. It might not be done by Hideaki, but
there you go.
Capcom is no doubt going to try to pour more money into this money-making franchise. But anyways, go ahead.
For sure. Yeah, no, and that's wonderfully put because, yeah, this, and I was telling my other fans too, so just to clarify on what he's saying, is like, this may be, and I know that was translated weird, right? This is more or less maybe the last of the Sparta saga. I know it was translated to the latest and it was said wrong, but this is indefinitely Hideaki Itsuno's last project for Devil May Cry. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be some in the future, and like you said, like Half Pint said, we can most likely expect to see more Devil May Cry in the future, just won't be done by him. But to kind of tie back to what we were saying earlier is, yeah, the gatekeeping is really bad. I remember I watched a video of yours, made me laugh so hard, is when you were talking about like the pronunciation of like Mundus versus Mundus, and you were like telling people like, don't tell me how to say that. And it was so funny. It was so funny for me because I'm like, I experienced the same thing. Like, you can't say Nello Angelo because in the Japanese version it's intended to be translated as Nero Angelo or Nero Angelo, which again is another, nod to Nero, him being his son and all. But I'm getting off topic.
It's okay.
Is that like the pronunciation is not important, but people will literally dog you for saying that. Like if you accidentally say producer as opposed to director, they immediately. And it's not just a matter of correcting people, because you're allowed to correct people and say, hey, this is pronounced such and such. But this community will go so far as to say, you've only ever played the reboot. You're not even a real Devil May Cry fan. You probably never even played the game, and you're just leeching off of it for hype because you pronounce Mundus wrong. Like, what? What?
Okay, here's the biggest example, and I put this in the example you're talking about too. In the first scene of Devil May Cry 1, they say Mundus and Mundus back to back. Dude, Tell me how to say Mundus now.
See, that's the thing too. Is like, and here's the thing, and that goes back to like the hate that I was receiving. So I don't know how you chose to handle it. You chose to kind of like go like the comedic route, make a video about it, and kind of like lighthearted fun. When I got criticisms like that, which, albeit unfair criticisms, I would just troll them. I would just troll them a lot and that's a part of the problem. but again, so but it is a part of the problem. Like you can't necessarily rain down on people because of a difference in pronunciation. Like at its core, it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't mean that they haven't played the game. It just means that they pronounce it a different way.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the comments go even worse. Like, there's one guy, I didn't understand this at the time until I got more involved with the community. I don't remember which video it is, so I'm not going to try to look for it, but the guy basically said that you don't understand anything about Devil May Cry, you're terrible, and you have no motivation. And I'm like, what kind of insult is that to say I have no motivation?
You just got Virgil on.
Yeah, 2 months later, I realized that Virgil memes were ridiculous.
You know what? I almost feel I don't know. I feel responsible for pioneering that too. That's kind of like some of the troll responses that I would give people.
Yeah, and you want to know how deep that goes? You want to know how deep it goes? Okay, so that comment, I pinned it for some amount of time because it was hilarious. Back early in my channel, I started pinning hate comments. Now I don't get very many hate comments at all because I don't get enough views to attract those people, thank God. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to intentionally have people make hate comments. It was just for a comedic effect, for fun, for a while. And so not only did I pin that comment, I highlighted it, cropped into a PNG, and my next video I made a montage, and the guy said, "Do not make a dubstep montage ever again. You have no motivation." And so in the beginning, the fucking beginning of the montage, I showed off that comment, and then it went straight into the montage.
Yeah, and it should have too. Like that's hilarious to me.
It was great. I had a lot of fun with that. I think it's just haters. You got to get over them. You know, there's only so much they can do. Don't let them bog you down or bother you. And most of all, don't troll them too much because it'll start affecting yourself sooner or later.
Yeah, and it will to a degree, for sure. My thing is I'm not afraid of any of that adversely affecting the channel anymore, more than it is that me wanting to push a better stuff for the community. Because like I said, the bigger thing is not necessarily if people hate me, because I'm going to get unfair criticism regardless. That doesn't mean that I can't minimalize it. But at this point, my shift in focus is more so letting more people in the Devil May Cry community more than it is worried about me or myself, you know. And that's the other thing too, that kind of ties into it. It's funny that you say that. Is like the more views that you elicit, like you said, right? Like you don't have enough views to elicit that much hate. And it's like that's the other thing, is that when you get more views, when you start generating a lot of views, you're gonna get a lot of criticism. You know, not to sound like egotistical, but it's like when you start producing a lot of views, along with that, you can't help but generate hate. You know, in the meantime.
The biggest example I can think of that is when I was still getting over like 10K views and that sort of stuff. I had a lot of people, because you keep getting put into people's recommendation boxes, they watch you and it's in their recommendation box, so therefore they are the skeptics, they are the customer, they are right. Dear God. And so I had this guy, and he would always go in there and correct my comments. I'm like, man, I appreciate it. You know, you're really a long-time subscriber, and I appreciate taking the time to help out people. He's like, I'm not subscribed to you. You keep coming on my recommendation list. I actually don't like your content. I'm like, oh, okay.
Gotcha. No, that's funny, too. I think I get at least 10 of those every day where people are, like, angry at me. They're, like, skeptical that I'm somehow responsible for it, right? There you go. They tell me I hit the 3 dots. I said, do not recommend this channel to me. I haven't clicked on your videos in X amount of time. And despite all my best efforts, I still keep getting notified when you upload videos. What are you doing? I'm like, excuse me? Like, what am I doing? It's like, I'm uploading videos. I'm not forcing you to click them. It's like, as far as it being recommended to you, that's just YouTube's algorithm. I apologize, brother. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'll clean the bathroom better next time, sir. I apologize for the inconvenience. Here, take a free drink coupon.
Right.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. But anyways, one last thing I think we should touch upon a little bit more. There's been a lot of controversies within this community between Subhuman and many other opinions with the game overall. But one thing I do want to talk about real quick. What is your opinion on the microtransactions? Because there's two sides of the field already. There's the people who just absolutely hate microtransactions, which is
Mhm.
understandable.
Mhm.
Because anytime you put it in there, sometimes it feels like it's jabbed because it's a single player game. But there's also the other side of the spectrum saying it's understandable because it's a single player game, there might not be any DLC. It's not games of service. They might need that extra monetization as an option. So overall, what's your opinion on the microtransactions coming to the game?
I'm on RBG side, right? I got to reference him because he brought the point up first. Here's the thing is that microtransactions are just like a hot topic to talk about. And so if you guys haven't seen his video, go check that out. But basically he explores on the thing that's like a lot of content creators have centered their content around like really just taking a crap on companies for any type of extra monetization, right? Really taking a crap on things. Like that's their job, is to criticize people. And there's kind of been a bandwagon of hate. And people have this thing where they just feel the need to hop on it. They don't necessarily care because it's not going to adversely affect you. Me, I personally don't care. I play grinding games. And I don't even think it's going to be a grindy experience seeing how we have the Fost hat to collect red orbs. You're not obligated to buy it. You're not missing out on any content by not partaking in it. We're getting the entirety of the game. It's not, to me, it's not a big deal. I think people, like I said, this is an unfair criticism. This is just something for people to complain about. And if it's not that, then it's most likely coming from their favorite content creator needing more content. And just, like I said, taking a crap on anything that's monetizable.
Yeah, that's definitely a firm stance on that. I believe that I definitely want to sit and wait for this one, see how it plays out. I have faith that Capcom will do it right because they did it right in Monster Hunter World, and I mean, I'm still gonna be skeptic about it. I've never really been a fan of microtransactions in single player games, but at the same time, I don't have an absolute hate for it, and
Yeah.
I kind of regret making that. I made a video about it on like day one
Mm-hmm.
when I heard about it, and
Yeah.
I'm glad I made that video because for one, it shows that if you make a video as a topic is hot, you're gonna
Mm.
get some opinions out of your mouth that you don't agree with later on.
Yeah.
So I've kept
Yeah.
that video up for reference for myself, honestly. And at the same time, I still did bring up some valid points in there that I go back to every once in a while. That's like, hey, I'm not a fan of microtransactions, but at the same time, they're not
For
forced
sure.
in there. They're not forced
Yeah,
in there
for
at
sure.
all.
No, and here's the thing. Here's my take on it too. Is like it's not necessary. It's definitely not necessary in the game. Like they're gonna get their money off of it. But as far as like AAA titles go, here's the thing about that too, is that you gotta picture this. So with every purchase, whether it's the $60 you get the deluxe edition, they gotta cut that up with everybody, like the people who made the audio, the people who made the gameplay, the graphic designers. They gotta cut that up amongst everybody, right? $60, and in the grand scheme of things, $60 is a lot for a purchase. But when you cut it up for an entire company of people that help work on it, really, it's not. Really, it's not. Especially for how much love and effort went into the game. Right? It's very costly to make these type of games. Um, and what's really monetizable, right, is mobile gaming. To my knowledge, I believe mobile gaming makes more money than AAA titles like console games.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like they could have went so many routes with it. I mean, they did do Pinnacle of Combat, which is a mobile game that they're coming out for Devil May Cry, but it didn't delay any projects as far as like the newest installment, to my knowledge. Like that's a separate team of people. They could have went the Blizzard route, had an entire group of people work on a project that a niche audience really loved, and just said, you know what, here's Pinnacle of Combat, no newest installment. But they didn't, and so for them to have an extra source of monetization, I'm not bothered by it. And I love supporting. I love supporting the things that I enjoy. Like for instance, it's a bit of a further out example, but like Psychopaths is a anime, and when they released a movie for Psychopaths, I went out to the movie theaters and bought a ticket, despite easily being able to, pirate it, watch it online for free. I did it because I wanted to support that company. I wanted to support whoever's behind that. So that's my take on it.
That's understandable. And I think that's a good stance on it. But I think that's all the time we have for here today. I appreciate you stopping by. But before we get out of here, where can people find you?
You guys can check me out. It's Jojo Wi-Fi. I'm sure he'll leave a link in the description. I'll do the same thing. I'll post something in my community tab so you guys can go check that out. Go check out Half Pint. If you guys are here from Jojo Wi-Fi, be sure to subscribe to Half Pint. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do some sort of editing in here because there's a lot of slurs and late wake-up calls, but that's okay. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in today to hear the Jojo Wi-Fi and Half Pint podcast. If you haven't checked out his channel, again, like he said, link in the description box below. Check out a lot of his cool videos. Some of them are theories, but a lot of them are also news videos. So in case you haven't been able to keep up with the news because I haven't been talking about the little details, he's got you covered. He's got all sorts of good stuff. Again, link in the description box below. I appreciate you guys. Do you have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
See you guys on the next one.
All right. Thanks for coming in. Love you all a long time, but not a hard time. I'll see you guys next time.